It's been a while since I've talked about Sonic, and quite frankly, it's been too long. This can't stand. So I'm going to talk about my personal favorite Sonic games and ranking them from worst to best. Now, unlike last time, Sonic Boom is not going to be ranked because it is not a mainline Sonic game. I'm sorry for those of you who wanted me to bash that game to oblivion, but it's not going to happen this time. And we have one new game to rank, Sonic X Shadow Generations, or just Shadow Generations. And believe it or not, I actually have new things to say about most of these games. Most of them. So, without further ado, let's get her ranked, I guess. Just like last time, it starts off with Shadow the Hedgehog. I personally just think this game is worse than Sonic 06. Because at least with Sonic 06, you had some moments that felt really interesting. While in this game, no. This game, for the most part, just has a lot of unnecessary things. Like all the unnecessary swearing and the mission levels. For the most part, this game is just unnecessary. I do love this opening cutscene, though. But that's about all the praise I can give it. All I can say is, this game is just not very good. Although the music is good, and this is the last Sonic game to have guns in it, so think of that as you will. I'm sorry I don't have a lot to say about this one. I just don't have a lot of experience with it, and I really just don't have a lot. You all saw this coming. It's Sonic 06. It is not. It's not the worst Sonic game of all time, but it's up there. This game is infamous. We've all seen the parodies, we've all seen the memes. Rerez made a 3-hour presentation about how bad this game is. We all know about it. I don't think I need to explain anything to you, so I'll just sum it up like this. The game deserved way better. Also, I've heard that there was actually a version of this game that was further along in development, but it got scrapped for this version because it was the most stable. Yeah, this was what they considered stable. Let that sink in. This one may come as a shock to you if you watched the original video, but it's Sonic Forces. Yep, my patience has run out with this game. I don't think it's the worst Sonic game of all time, and I even have parts of it that I really enjoy. But ever since I started playing more proper Sonic games, as in Sonic Shadow Generations, Sonic Frontiers, and all that stuff, I realized that those games just do what this game does, but better. They tell a more compelling story. They have better gameplay. Their levels are more interesting. Sonic Frontiers especially has one of the best stories of Sonic history. And this game was going to have that, but due to publisher interference, we didn't get that. Instead, we got whatever this game was. Now, I'm not going to rant on Forces too much here because there are some things that I really liked about it. The gameplay, whilst being extremely simple, is enjoyable. And I'd say it's one of the easiest Sonic games to get into. The only thing that really holds it back is how much missed potential there was with the concept. The Phantom Ruby can literally summon whatever it wants, and yet we barely do anything with that concept. Characters act out of character, and worst of all, Green Hill is probably the most changed location out of all the locations that have returned. It's really sad. The worst part about this game, however, is by far how short the levels are. Like, I just finished an entire rant there, and the level is over. So yeah, Sonic Forces is the third worst Sonic game in the mainline series. But there's only one more quote unquote bad game left to go. And it's one that nobody's gonna agree with me with, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. Sonic Lost World. It's a game that exists, I guess, but hey, what do you do? Sonic Lost World is by far one of the biggest examples of what was wrong with the era. Not the most egregious example. A lot of gimmicks were introduced in Sonic Lost World that did not rub players the right way. And another one was that the characters, again, act out of character. I personally am okay with it mostly, but I do enjoy this game for what it's trying to be. A more unique take on Sonic. The only thing I really don't get is the fact that the Lost Hex just kind of comes out of nowhere. Tails seems to already know what it is, and we never touch upon it again. Like, what? Also, say it with me, the Deadly Six are bland and boring. There's nothing really to say about the Deadly Six other than the IDW comics actually made them interesting. But that's it. Other than that, yeah, they're just there. I really don't have much more to say about this game that hasn't already been said by millions of other people. Other than I don't think it's that bad, but its gimmicks could have been explained a little better. So let's move on to the middle ground of this list. This game exists. Sonic Superstars. I mean, it's cool that the Sonic games are now giving more power to the Chaos Emeralds. It's nice that we're going back to the classic Sonic style. I like most of what this game has to offer. Uh, Trip is kind of cute. That's about it. There's nothing to really say. To this day, I still don't have a lot of experience with Sonic Superstars, and I feel like I'm just including this game here out of obligation. The only thing that really got me interested in this game was the fact that Bang returned. Bang, that character that no one thought was ever going to return. Or I'm sorry, Knack. Or Fang, Knack. It's the same guy. So, yeah, to this day, Sonic Superstars is the game that I have the least amount of experience with. So, yeah, I don't have anything to say about this game. I couldn't really rank it fairly amongst the other games, so that's why I'm talking about it now. But honestly, I don't have much of an opinion on it. So I guess you could say this game is unranked. Still, I do like what it's trying to do. We finally made it to the one that started it all. Sonic the Hedgehog in 1991. This game is okay, to be honest. I have played it and I have enjoyed it. I just don't think it holds up to the future games. Don't get me wrong, it has a lot of great elements to it, and it introduced the world to Sonic, but you can really tell that this game has gone through some growing pains, and is not quite the Sonic we know and love today. Green Hill and Stardust Zone are like the only zones where you can actually go fast. Labyrinth Zone is infamous amongst a lot of people, And and I don't even dare bring up the name Scrap Brain Zone. There's a reason why it's never coming back. So yeah, game that started it all, had some great elements, kind of just mid. Let's move on. Up next is probably one of the most experimental Sonic games of all time, Sonic Heroes. I gotta say, I do like what this game was going for. Basically, it was going for a more interesting approach to how Sonic games are approached. By splitting you up into teams of 3, each player has a different role: flying, strength, and of course, speed. All I can say is this game is pretty interesting, but is very 2003. It's so 2003 that the game will sometimes break if you look at it the wrong way. It's so 2003 that, well, all I can say is this game is very 2003 and it's kind of janky. But honestly, unlike Sonic 06, I think it actually works out just fine here. And the final boss against Neo Metal Sonic was just perfect. The only thing that I can't really get behind is that you're forced to play through all the levels, including Team Chaotix, who has by far the worst campaign. No offense, Charmy, but you're just not good. All I can say is, yeah, Sonic Heroes is fun, but when you stack it up to other Sonic games, it's just kind of there. Still though, really fun game. And I kind of wish they tried experimenting a little bit more. Next up is Sonic CD. Basically, a more interesting take on the Genesis games for the Sega CD. And to my knowledge, it's the only mainline Sonic game to ever be put onto a spin-off console. Huh. Interesting. Another thing that this game does is to have a heavier exploration element. This game is a lot more vertical and a lot more exploration heavy than previous Sonic games. Heck, even future Sonic games. Honestly, this game feels like it was made for Tails more than Sonic. Which is why the Christian Whitehead version of Sonic CD is better, in my opinion. Now, that's not to say that Sonic CD is a bad game. No, not by a long shot. I especially love the subtle character development from Sonic here, where he starts off hating Amy, but then begrudgingly starts to like her, only for it to turn into genuine love later down the road. I really like that. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I do like it. A lot of people say that Sonic's love for Amy was kind of something that came out of nowhere, but honestly, I think it was actually kind of built up in a way. Whether it was intentional or not, I can't say for sure. Sonic CD is just okay, in my opinion. Also, it introduced Metal Sonic, and for that, we are truly blessed. That's all I have to say. Yep, this is probably my most controversial take. Sonic 2, this low on the list. Let me explain. Sonic 2 is not a bad game. I need to stress that. It's not a bad game. But a lot of people keep saying it's the best Sonic game, and I don't think that's true either. Sonic 2 was good, but honestly, I feel like future games just did this game better. Heck, even in the 90s. Sonic 2 is a great game, and it introduced us to Tails and Super Sonic. For that, I think we were truly blessed. The only thing I really don't care for was Labyrinth Zone. No, wait. The only thing I truly didn't care for was Metropolis Zone. Metropolis Zone is kind of the bane of everyone's existence. I still don't know how to get an S rank in that one. But yes, Metropolis Zone is the worst part of Sonic 2. Other than that, Sonic 2 just did what Sonic 1 did, but better. And quite frankly, that's all we needed. And this is going to be the last Genesis game we see for a while. Up next, we have Sonic Unleashed. A while ago, Sonic Unleashed was actually called one of the worst Sonic games of all time. I don't know what these people were talking about. Now people are suddenly claiming that it's one of the best Sonic games of all time. Where did you people come from? But hey, regardless of where these people came from, Sonic Unleashed does deserve some dues. It was the very first game to introduce the modern boost style. Boosting existed before, but this was the game that perfected it. Well, not perfected it, got perfected in later games, but this was the game that just ran away with it. Chip is also adorable. I don't care what people think. Chip is great. This was also the last mainline Sonic game to use the 4Kids cast. Which is a little sad because the 4Kids cast really are a really good set of actors. They just had some bad projects they needed to work on. Sonic Unleashed is by far, in a way, one of the more underrated Sonic games. I do love this game. So yeah, Sonic Unleashed is just a little too fast for me. But I do enjoy it. The only part that wears it down is probably the Werehog section, but even then, I don't hate it. I think it's actually really good. Yeah, I said it. The Werehog section is good. Deal with it. This is my list. Next up is Sonic Colors. Yeah, this is using footage of the Ultimate version. It was the first thing I could find. But Sonic Colors usually looks better than this, I swear. Sonic Colors was by far one of my favorite games growing up as a kid. I was surprised when the voice actors changed, but honestly, I kind of like the way Roger sounds. Though he would get way better later on. Sonic Unleashed set the groundwork for Sonic Colors. If Unleashed was for the hardcore fans, Colors was definitely for the more casual fans. We also got new Wisp powers for Sonic. And I gotta say, they're really good. The only problem I have is that it set the precedent for Sonic Colors Wisps returning every single time in every single game. Seriously, I don't think there's one game that went by without the Wisps somehow returning after this. Even in games where they really don't belong. But yes, Sonic Colors is definitely one of my favorite games from my childhood. The only thing that really holds it back is, well, its story. As in, it doesn't really have one. It's just kind of a game that exists. But I personally love this game. And I will defend it to my dying breath. And that's not just me coping, I just love this game. I'm clumping Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 together here, simply because I feel like they're around the same in quality. Sonic Adventure 2 looks way better, but has some more off levels. Meanwhile, Sonic Adventure 1 has a few more interesting levels, but looks worse. My list, my rules. Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 are definitely really good games, though, introducing us to certain characters and fleshing out others. It was these games that made us realize that Amy wasn't just the love-struck character that we all thought she was. No, she was actually more of a sweetheart than we thought. Tails, we learned, gets a little self-destructive in his nature. But he pulls through. Knuckles has ambitions of his own, but takes his role seriously. And that's not to introduce the new characters like Shadow, Rouge, chaos to call. These characters have become so iconic. And let's not forget the levels. All the levels are great. I can name them all. City Escape, Paradise Ocean. It is just great. I probably gotten the names wrong, but I don't care. I know them all. Sonic Adventure was a great duology. It's actually technically a trilogy because Sonic 06 is the third one, but we kind of know what happened to that one. So, Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 get clumped together. Next up is Sonic Mania. Now, this is a retro revival done right. It basically takes all the retro levels from Sonic history and makes them really good, remixing them in ways that you just cannot imagine. Starting off with a mixture of the two original levels at the start, and then doing something brand new with them for the second act. Green Hill Zone has never been more interesting. That combined with the presentation of the whole thing makes Sonic Mania just feel so good. And I would say it is the best out of all of the classic Sonic games, except there's one that does it a little bit better. Back on the Genesis, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It set the world by storm when it first released. It was a very cool game back then. This opening cutscene says it all. This game introduced us to lots of different concepts. Knuckles, the Super Emeralds, Hypersonic. Why hasn't Hypersonic ever come back? That's a shame. But I do love this game, and I think it's the best out of the classic Sonic games. The secrets are great. The level design is spectacular. The mini games are probably the best they've ever been. And my personal favorite part about it, the climactic ending. It just showed how much effort was put into this last Genesis game. And man, it just seemed like we were going to go downhill from here for a long time. That was until recently. Now we're at the top 3, but, and you may think you already figured me out, but think again, bucko. I figured you out first. You think you know that I know what I'm going to do, but trust me, you don't know. Number 3 is, this game may not be number 1 anymore, but it's still really good. Sonic Generations holds a great place in Sonic fans' hearts, and for good reason. This was how you celebrated Sonic's birthday, by releasing an actually good anniversary game. The only problems with this game are the story, which it basically has none, and Planet Wisp and the Time Eater. Those things can just go away. But other than that, this game is just the good stuff. If you really want a good Sonic game, it's available on modern devices now, and it is so good. Yeah, it's a little scummy they took down the original, but I don't even care anymore. This is a good version of it. But the reason why they took it down, and the reason why I'm so happy for its return, is because of the actual new best Sonic game. Or so I thought at first. But after some thinking, I now think it's the second best Sonic game. Shadow Generations. Okay, this must really surprise you. I made an entire video compiling all the reasons why this was the best Sonic game of all time. So why is it suddenly number 2? Well, I'll just tell you. This game plays it safe, whilst the next game takes huge risks. And I don't know, I just like that better. But don't get anything twisted. This game is still phenomenal. It does everything a good Sonic game needs to. And Sonic isn't even the character you play as, it's Shadow. Shadow Generations basically takes you through all the moments that are important to Shadow. If you really wanted a reason to play this game, watch my original video on it. It's more well put together, and it just goes through everything beat by beat and explains why it is the best why it's the best Sonic game. But now we come to number 1. And by process of elimination, you already know which one it is. Sonic Frontiers was a well-needed rush of adrenaline in a very stale Sonic environment. It was one of the biggest reveals of 2020, and I just love it. Sonic Frontiers was one of the greatest Sonic games to ever be released. The story, best out of the best. The environments look amazing. The gameplay is smooth and solid. The story... Okay, I already said the story is amazing several times, but I really just cannot... I just cannot get over it. The story is just so good. And after years of Baldy McNose hair, we finally have a Sonic game we can take seriously. With combat that actually exists. It basically takes everything that didn't work in Sonic games prior, mushes them into a blender, and says, you will work. And I've had a lot of things spoiled about me for this game. I've had a lot of things spoiled from this game, but I'm glad that moment wasn't spoiled for me. When Giganto first makes his appearance and Undefeatable blares in the background. It is magical. Sonic Frontiers is probably the most experimental Sonic game of all time. But you know what? I think it's also one of the best Sonic games of all time. If you really want to know why I like it, just play the game. Trust me, you won't regret it. Anyway, that is my revamped list of Sonic games ranked. Sorry this video took so long to upload, but I've been finishing up college as of recently, and I finally finished it up. I'm about to graduate. After that, I don't know what I'll do. But one thing is for sure. I will start making more videos when I find the time. And trust me, the final episode of Nerdy Rewrites for Mortal Kombat 11 and the Mortal Kombat Dead by Daylight chapter is coming soon. I just wanted to do something to rinse my palate for violence for a change. So anyway, I have been the Gamer Nerd, and thank you so much for watching, and please let me know what's your favorite Sonic game in the comments below.